Hello dear friends, today I am at the Hokoji temple in Kyoto and I want to tell you about the famous bell that played a crucial role in the course of Japanese history. However, first let's talk about what exactly this bell is as an object and what place it occupies in the list of its own kind. This bell was made of bronze in 1614. Its mass is about 82 tons. This is almost the same as 1000 whale, and its height is about 4 meters. This giant bell size is really amazing. A comparison with the familiar Tsar bell from the Moscow Kremlin may immediately pop up in memory, but it's almost 2.4 times in weight and almost 1.4 times in height is inferior to the Kremlin Tsar bell. Nevertheless, unlike the sad fate of Tsar bell that never made people happy with its ringing, our today's bell rings and is one of the 5 largest operating bells in the world. If we take only the mass of the bell as a criterion for evaluation, then of the currently operating bells, the largest bell in Russia, the Tsar bell of the Trinity Svyatozhslavia, is the head of the bell of the Hokoji temple. Hokoji temple bell is the third by mass in the world. However, as the heaviest and oldest surviving one, it firmly holds the number 1 position in the world. As for another criterion, height, here the bell of the Hokoji temple is also one of the largest bells in the world. In Japan, it's only the second in a row, but as the tallest and oldest, it still holds the number 1 position. So what crucial role did this bell play in the course of Japanese history? To begin with, I will briefly talk about the time when this bell was created. By the beginning of the 17th century, a situation was established in Japan in which the actual power in the country belonged to 2 clans. In the west of Japan, with the center in Osaka Castle, power was in the hands of the Toyotomi clan, and in the east, alternately with the center in Sunpu Castle and Edo Castle, in the hands of the Tokugawa clan. And so the head of the Tokugawa clan, Tokugawa Ieyasu, at that time he was already at a respectable age for those years, about 70 years old, made various efforts to weaken the power of the Toyotomi clan and personally its head, a young man Toyotomi Hideyori, who hadn't even reached 20 years of age. Tokugawa Ieyasu wanted to concentrate power in his own hands. However, both his advanced age and the continued support of Toyotomi Hideyori from the imperial court and powerful Epirage princes played against the ambitions of Tokugawa Ieyasu. In such a situation, Tokugawa Ieyasu needed to do something urgently, especially since a split was outlined his ranks. A good opportunity turned up for this in 1596. An earthquake happened, as a result of which an 18-meter gilded statue of Buddha created by the will of Toyotomi Hideyori's father, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, was severely damaged on the territory of the Hokoji temple. After another 2 years without restoring the statue, Hideyoshi himself dies, and as respectful son, Hideyori decides to continue his father's work. Already in 1620, he cast a new bronze statue of Buddha. At the same time, Tokugawa Ieyasu resorts to a trick and, in order to undermine the material reserves of Toyotomi Hideyori, invites him to cast an additional bell in memory of his father, to which he receives approving consent. By the way, the bell was a mandatory attribute of Buddhist forgiveness ceremonies. Who knows, maybe the colossal size of the bell was intended to atone for the sins of Hideyori's father. This is the prehistory of the creation of the bell, and everything would be fine except for one thing. If you look closely at the bell, we will see that letters are engraved on it, and the frame, is scratched in 2 places around them. What is wrong here? If you translate a fragment of the inscription into English, you get the following. I wish prosperity to the state, the creation of everything in the world, glory to the emperor for centuries, abundance and joy to the ruler and vassals. It seems to be nothing like that, but it was the hieroglyphic notation that became the bone of contention. The fact is that firstly the hieroglyphs of the phrase prosperity to the state not only coincide with the taboo name of Ieyasu, but they also divide his name in half. Here I will know that the taboo name was given to representatives of noble families, including Tokugawa Ieyasu at birth, and when addressing outside the family, it wasn't used at all, so its use can be considered to peak of insolence. In addition, other hieroglyphs are usually used in the expression prosperity to the state, so personally I am more inclined to see the deliberate choice of the same hieroglyphs with the taboo name of Ieyasu. Secondly, the hieroglyphs of the phrase abundance and joy to the ruler and vassals, with a certain amount of fantasy can be read as the ruler of Toyotomi, which in general also given Ieyasu's ambitions for personal power, adds fuel to the fire. Finally, there is another phrase on the bell that is often omitted in researches, namely, the east meets the pale moon, the west sees of the setting sun. This refers to the allegory of east Tokugawa Ieyasu, west Toyotomi Hideyori, and the later seas of the setting sun of Tokugawa. Immediately after the bell was cast, rumors spread that Hideyori was sending curses to Ieyasu in such veiled form. This was immediately reported to Tokugawa Ieyasu and caused him indescribable anger. A series of proceedings began, and a further series of events as a result led to a military clash in November of the same year and in the summer of the next. Ultimately, Hideyori was defeated by Tokugawa Ieyasu, and in Japan in 1615 the sole power of Tokugawa clan was established, which lasted until 1867. However, after the victory over Hideyori, the bell for some reason wasn't melted down. Perhaps they expected a suitable use of such a quantity of bronze, but was only lowered from the bell tower to the ground, having lost the ability to sound. So it stood in the open air until the construction of this wooden bell tower in 1884. Nowadays, every year on the night from December 31st to January 1st, anyone can take part in the ceremony of 108 strikes on this bell and personally extract the sound from its 400-year history. Thank you for your watching. See you soon in our next videos.